Hey guys, it's Rachel from the Lorraine Lamentations and their Top 5 Wednesday day. As always, the Goodreads group for the Top 5 Wednesday page will be in the down bar so you can check out other people's videos or join in on the fun. So today's topic is future classics. We'll top 5 future classics, and basically the description of this is pick your top 5 books that you think will be classics in the future. So if I'm looking down, I'm looking also at my notebook where I have my list and some notes. So first of all, I want to say that it's hard to pick classics because it just, I don't know, like it's just something about it. Like at first, because I have no YA on my list, and at first when I was going through this list, I was like, it's gonna be hard to put YA because YA is a pretty new phenomenon, and there's no really YA classics. If I'm like, I don't know, because like there's Anna Green Gables and stuff like that, which maybe be considered that, but like YA just is like a somewhat newer genre, so it was very hard. But I put mostly general fiction on my list, and I kind of picked them for different reasons, so I'm going to try to run through those very quickly so this video doesn't go to eternity. So number 5 is actually Colorless Tuzukuro Tazaki and His Years of Pilgrimage by Haruki Murakami, and I hope I'm pronouncing that right. Tuzukuro, I think that's, yeah. Basically, sometimes you guys correct me on that, which I really appreciate, but then I always forget how to say it when it comes to a new video. But I've never read another Murakami book. This is the only one I've read, so in case you're wondering why I didn't put one of his other books on this list, because he is a very popular author, of course, it's because this is the only one I've read so far of his books. I want to read more, though. So this one I put as number 5 because I just feel like this has such a classic feel to it. Not in the sense of like maybe, like it just is very dramatic, but it has a lot of meaning behind it. It's written very beautifully. It just kind of felt like a modern classic to me already when reading it, and it was a really good, like, short novel, and it had a lot of really good points. If you could see, I have a lot of tabs here. I really want to reread this one this year. I haven't read it, I think, since my first year university, and I just really want to read it again, actually, just, like, looking at it. But number 4 is, moving on to number 4, I guess, is Milk and Honey by Rupi Kaur, or Kaur, I think it's Kaur. But this is a poetry book, and this one is a very popular book, so I kind of debated whether to put it on my list because, like, you want to put something on your list, but you're like, is it too popular to be a classic? As bad as that sounds, but it's like, because a lot of all the classics are like older novels and stuff like that, if they were popular in that time period, makes sense. But there's so many books now, and I just don't want to pick books that are necessarily popular, like super popular. But like that was kind of my, if you might know what I'm getting at, but like basically it's like for example, a reality TV show. Would you consider that a classic TV show? But it's very popular, like Keeping Up with the Kardashians, very popular reality show, been going on for years. Would you consider that a classic? It's kind of the same thing. It's like, if it's super, super popular, can it be classic? Because I feel like classics are so, like, prestigious. Like, it'd be like a drama, like a really well-regarded drama that's won millions of awards would be considered a classic over that, which might just be an ideology of thinking because of the society we grew up in, but, you know, we're just going to go off that topic. Basically, but with Milk and Honey, I really love it. I really love the poetry in it, and there's been a lot of poetry out there, and I still need to get to a lot of it because I'm not as well versed in it. I've read a lot of older poetry, but not more the modern poetry, but I feel like you should put some more poetry in the classics. I feel like this one's going to go down just because it is very, it's a very good collection. It's very easy to get through. Some hard topics, though, of course. So it kind of has that darkness, that classic feel, but also being modern and easier to read. Which I do appreciate, because some older poetry is a little bit harder to get through because it has such deep, rich meaning that it's like, it's harder to read continuously, like you're constantly like reading slower, but this one you can go through quite fast, but still have those moments where you take it slow, so I really enjoyed that. Number 3 is actually Funny Girl by Nick Hornby, which I read, read later on last year, I think in October of last year, and I really enjoyed it, and I just really like this one because it kind of feels like a classic-y, like all these kind of feel like a little bit of classics to me, just because this one is like kind of has like a time capsule, like it does, I believe it's I think it's the 1960s, it could be the 1950s, if I'm not mistaken, it doesn't say on the back, but it's about like a girl who goes into acting, and you know, you get to see her whole journey. Sophie Straw is her screen name, but her real name is Barbara, and basically it just goes through all this, like, this girl's life, and it just is very interesting, and not only is it a time capsule, not like of like obviously my time because I wasn't born in the 60s, clearly, but it's like a time capsule book, and I don't know, like it just has this feel of it where I'm like, I would love this to be a classic. I haven't read any other Nick Hornby books, in case you're wondering why I didn't put one of his other books on this list, because I feel like that is with these authors like Murakami and Nick Hornby, who have a lot of books on our list, the reason I'm putting these two on is because they're the only ones I've read, and I really enjoyed them. So it's like, I'm not picking against his other books, just an FYI there in case you're wondering like why I picked that book, because this book is just came out. Didn't just come out, but it came out a few years ago, and it was another one that was super popular, but in a different way. I feel like the Milk and Honey, it's like more in a way that I hear about it in like on talk shows and podcasts, but not as much on YouTube, whereas Milk and Honey was more on YouTube than extraneous sources. So number 2 was is A Man Called Uwe by Frederick Backman, and I really enjoyed this novel, and I just feel like the thing I like about classics is a lot of them I feel like are really character based. The ones I've read, or at least the ones I know about, because I do watch some channels that focus more on classics, and I've heard about more classics than I knew before watching those channels. But it just, I feel like accounts of people and accounts of life, and like really getting the essence and really being able to delve into a character and know them is like really a big part of the essence of classics, because we didn't live in those time periods. Like Jane Austen books, we didn't live in those time periods, so it really just gives you the essence of their characters. And even though a lot happens, some classics there's not that much that happens. And this book I think would fit in really good because it does give a really good representation of Uwe and how he would be feeling, and it's just a very beautifully written book. I just really enjoyed this book. I have nothing but good things to say about this book, and the movie is phenomenal as well. It's one of the closest book to movie adaptations I've ever seen, so that says something. And number 1 actually goes to Jurassic Park by Michael Crichton. Now, you might be thinking, why? This does not really seem like a classic because it's an adventure novel, thriller, sci-fi, you know, it's a mix. This, I would say, is a classic because it has had such an influence on pop culture. Now, it came out in the 90s, obviously it was made into a film, another film, and now, it was 2 years ago, I think 2 years ago? Yeah, 2015, I believe, yeah. Jurassic World came out. Yeah, it was 2015. Don't know why I'm forgetting my years. Anyway, it just had such a hold on pop culture. It's still it's referenced a lot. It still has an impact. You still see all sorts of things about it. The fact that it's still a really successful franchise and it's been going on for 12 years, I believe, or 13, says something about its longevity. And I just feel like this book, for the time period, was such a phenomenal read. And like reading certain things, like I've read it's over there, I want to say Monroe, but it's not Monroe. I forget what book it is, and I read it for class. I need to go over and check. After reading Dr. Moreau's Island and seeing kind of like where this book could have been influenced, because obviously it's not like every book, you know, is kind of like they have similar themes that tie in, and like there's no really like, there's original ideas, but it's like a lot of them follow the same archetype. And like seeing like Westworld, how he created, I haven't watched the movie yet, but I know like he created, and I know the gist of the film, and it was a basis for Jurassic Park, and just, I think this is a great, like, even though like people like look at the film and they could hem and haw and be like, oh, it's an action film, it's a very well written book, it's very thorough, it's very believable, especially like the sciencey part. Like, I'm not a science person, so I can't say the believability to all, but like how he writes it is very convincing that this could in fact be a thing. And I think it's just a very important in the classics book. World. It's like especially in literature and all that, it's like books like that are like that have action films about them are kind of turned away from, I feel like, especially in academia. Like, you don't hear a lot about action books. There's a lot of books that have very profound things to say, and this one I think has a profound thing to say. It has a lot of lessons about life and not playing like God or creator or whoever you believe in that creates, unless you don't believe in somebody, but you know, that kind of gist. And it has a lot of different textual themes that are explored in this book that are explored also in drama films, and it just gets overlooked. And even though I'm talking about the movie more here, it's based off the book, and a lot of people I think overlook the books because they see the movies, and the books have a lot of good substance. They are different from the movies. This one is the closest to the first film. The second one kind of goes off the wayside, but just really good books. Like, definitely classic material. I don't know why I'm fighting like against it, but like, you know, it just makes me upset when I don't hear about like I know school, like, you're supposed to read, but like even my sci-fi class, we had no mention of Michael Crichton, and like I know he's not like a super sci-fi author, but he has such a cultural influence that I'm surprised we haven't, like, not now we haven't read him, because I'm not surprised we haven't read him, but like he does, like, he's not a full sci-fi author, he doesn't do fully sci-fi books, I would say, or maybe he does, I don't know if he'd be considered, But this one, I would definitely consider a little bit sci-fi, if that's making sense, or science fiction. Yeah, science fiction, which is sci-fi. Don't know where I was going with that, but like, even that, like, I'm surprised we haven't talked about him because he is such a cultural influence. And like, I know some people probably don't even know this is based off a book, to be honest. Like, I don't know. But yeah, that's my future classics. So much for this video being short. I kind of went on a few tangents, but I hope you guys did not mind that. And I just have a lot of ideas about future classics, and I really liked this topic, so I want to thank the Top 5 Wednesday creators for coming up with this one. And yeah, if you guys have any future classics, or you know any books that I read that you think would be future classics that I forgot to mention on this list, definitely let me know. Or if you guys have any of your own, definitely let me know, and I'll have to look those ones up. And I want to thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Bye.